how did you define that in your own faith? How did you describe what your source was? You've mentioned source a few times. You've mentioned higher purpose. You've mentioned being called. What is that you tap into?
It's spirit. There's a life force. There's a consciousness. There's an energy. There's a divine presence that flows in, as, and through all existence. It's what, as Marianne Williamson, I love this line that she says, it causes an embryo to become a baby, a seed to become a flower. It's the life force energy that is within us all. And when we're disconnected from this source of all existence, these creative powers, that's where we feel these states of fear and lack and limitation and stress and overwhelm and all these things. So I gained a distinction. And that's why it's so powerful about this session that we're having right now, is it's giving everyone these distinctions. And I found a distinction that when I'm not connected and in alignment with source, which is the intelligence that quite literally births all that is into existence, I feel these lower frequencies, I feel these lower vibrations, and it's because I'm disconnected. So it's like, okay, so what are the practices? What are the rituals? What are the way of thinking and being and showing up in the world that creates attunement, that creates alignment? And that's where my life's work, which is one of the first brands that I created, is Supreme Influence.
Yes.
That's what kept coming to me.
Here.
That supreme is the authentic, empowered you in alignment with the source. There is a source that births all into being. And influence, as I describe it in this book and in these courses and in this particular body of my life's work, of which now, after 21 years of being in business, there's an expanded context, right? Influence, as I describe it, is inward fluency, which is very different than how a lot of people think of the word influence in terms of sales and influence and persuasion and things of this nature. Inward fluency is like being so centered and clear on who you are, what your purpose is, what your values are, what your focus is, what your beliefs are, that you are like in alignment. And when you're living in alignment, you become a magnet, you become a tuning fork. You begin to attract people, places, opportunities, experiences that match that frequency. So I became very clear that I wrote this book, and as I was writing it, I was going through the alchemical process myself as I was writing it, of really distilling those areas that do not serve. And a lot of these areas that do not serve, and I teach this in one of my courses, and we go deep to the root of what is the root of these old beliefs. You mentioned not good enough. That's one of the ones I hear the most from students from around the world. Doesn't matter what country they're in. Pervasive, like underlying subconscious thought of, oh my gosh, what if I'm not good enough? And if I'm not good enough, that I won't be seen, I won't be loved, and all of this. Well, it's time to say, you know what? Not true. False.
Yes,
I declare falsehood. And for us to rise to the heights that we're destined for.